Hello everyone and welcome to QWIP. QWIP is a safe space for you to talk about anything and everything under the sun. So today's episode is all about moving out. So let's get into it and let's QWIP in. So please help me welcome today's special guests. We have Charlene and Jasmine.
Hi.
Hey. So I think it's quite rare for young people, especially around our age, to be moving out of their home, especially if you're not yet married. So I guess my very first question would be, what prompted you to move out?
So for me, I have actually moved out of my parents' place for almost 4 years, pre-COVID already.
Yeah.
So for me, I think we had a lot of issues with me receiving too much PR
gifts.
So I was like making a lot of mess at home, and it was very frustrating for them. But at the same time, they know that I cannot reject because that was like the start of my career. Yeah. So I think we had like very frequent quarrel about this same problem
over and over.
And then there's one time that we had a bigger fight. So that made me decided that I need to move out. For like the better for both my parents and myself.
For your relationship to also improve. So that was really the tipping point for you, where you're like, okay, I think enough is enough. It's time for me to grow up and get my own space.
Yes, correct.
What about you, Sha?
I think for me, it was like a decision that was set upon for a really, really long time. So I'm engaged.
Yes!
So it's only a recent thing actually. So we actually bought a house even before we were engaged. So we moved in together, I think last August, like kind of ish in the middle of COVID, or like almost like 3/4 through it, I guess. We were looking for houses for I think about a year and a half now, and we applied for BTO like 2 times. And we didn't manage to get it. Same as you, right?
Same here. We applied 3 times. But again, I think it's really because of the locations that we wanted were very, very, very popular. Super oversubscribed. Didn't even come close to getting a number. So we sort of gave up after that.
Yeah, me too. So exact same situation with me. I tried 2 times and I had no resilience. I also gave up. So I think, plus my mom is a property agent as well. So she kind of encouraged us, like, especially because during COVID, the housing prices got a lot higher.
Yes.
Because I think, like what you said, everyone kind of realized the importance of
looking for their own space.
Yeah, during COVID, when everyone's like indoors together,
a lot of friction going on because I guess
annoying me.
It's frustrating. You need your own space to work, to like live, to like enjoy yourself as well. But they also want their own space.
Exactly. So plus I'm a singer, I also have a day job. So, I have to make sure that my meetings don't clash with my dad's because we'll be talking over each other, which is crazy. And then, in the middle of the night, let's say I want to write a song or something and inspiration hits at like 2 a.m. I can't like just sing really loudly in front of my parents because they will, their sleep is also interrupted. I also feel kind of bad. So I think like a lot of factors, but we were looking at houses for quite long and we finally found this one that we felt like an affinity with, and we were like, okay, are we gonna do it? Yeah.
I think it's really cool that both your parents were very supportive of you guys moving out, because actually when I did like float the idea to my parents, they were quite upset. I think it was more like, okay, for one, my sister is living overseas already, so I'm the last one in the home. So I think they felt a bit like, why do you want to move out? Like, are you unhappy with our current living situation? And I think maybe it was also like, what's going on like in your head, like that you can't share with us, that kind of thing. But for me, it was definitely more like I just felt like I wanted privacy. I wanted my own space. I want to just like walk around in my underwear, that kind of thing.
I feel that.
I think for me, because back home, I didn't have my own room. So it's kind of like they will understand where I'm coming from as well. And I told them that with my own place, I'm able to do my own, like use it for work too, without interrupting or like disturbing their personal space and privacy.
If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I think also the good thing is that you're renting, but you also are working at the same time, so you're sort of financially stable enough to make that
But
move.
I started off with renting just a room in a HDB for about 2 years. And then it's only last year, January, I moved into a studio, so all by myself.
So this is like just really your own space.
Then I can really walk around with in my underwear.
The biggest
The
luxury.
So I think back to the subject on parents, do you think moving out has improved or, you know, deproved your relationship with them?
I think for me, like I mentioned, that I had a lot of quarrels with my parents. But after I move out, I feel like we cherish each other a lot more, and sometimes they tell me they miss me. It's like last time they would never be like this.
You're always there, so it's like cannot miss you.
and like whenever I visit them, they would like really appreciate my time for being there.
Yeah, I think time spent together becomes a lot more intentional as well, because you're like, okay, I have these next 2 hours to talk to you. I don't want to fight with you over anything. We're just here to have a like family meal.
And since then, we don't really have any quarrels. Like I don't remember any. Yeah.
And Charlene, you were saying, because now you're staying with your fiance, you guys are sort of like splitting your time between both sets of parents. Yeah. How has that been?
I think my parents were really supportive of me moving out, and I'm very lucky for that. They actually helped me a bit financially also, so I really, really appreciate them a lot because of that. And I think because my mom, like I said, was a property agent, so she saw, you know, the housing prices increasing like crazy.
Did she actually help you like broker the deal? Oh,
did.
nice. Sue family deal.
Yeah, so she was like my agent. She like followed me to all the, you know, viewings and stuff.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, so I think like I really appreciate them. But I mean, of course, every family has issues also.
Yes.
And you know, being in a space with your parents, there's bound to be some friction here and there. So I think, you know, yeah, that's also a bit of the reason why, you know, she decided that it was a good thing that I was moving out.
That you have your own space.
Yeah.
And I think she now has her own space.
Yeah, exactly.
With your dad.
Yeah. Plus, you know, me and my fiance have been together for, I think, 5-ish years now. So it's quite a long time.
Yeah. So it's also time for you guys to make the next step in your relationship.
I mean, I don't really think like there's a set time or whatever, like there's a timeline for doing that.
Yeah.
But you know, my mom was just very comfortable with him already because he comes over quite often, and like we have meals together, we chat, and you know, all that stuff. So I think because my parents were comfortable with him, and they know that like he's a decent guy, like nice dude, you know, no like weird stuff happening. So yeah, so I think my parents felt a lot more settled,
safe,
assured
Yes,
that I was with someone who, you know, would take care of me, you know. Yeah.
Speaking of taking care of you, how do you guys split, you know, the home chores? Because okay, I mean, sorry, Jasmine, but
I get to do it all by myself.
everything by herself.
I'm the only maid at home.
But yeah, I think, you know, it has like added dynamic of, you know, sharing a space with someone. What if he's snoring or, you know, there's small frustrating things. But when it comes down to like, you know, owning a home means, you know, you guys share the
taking care of
responsibility
the
of
house
the
together.
house.
Yeah.
So was that something you guys had to discuss?
Yes, definitely. I think like open communication is always key in any relationship. So I think for us, when we were moving in, I was actually very worried, to be honest, because I've never like lived with like a significant other for such a long period before.
Yeah.
So this was like a new thing for me, and I heard a lot of like horror stories of people getting married and then moving into a BTO and then realizing that, you know,
They're not
Very
compatible.
different living habits.
exactly, and then they like break up or like get divorced or something. So I was actually super worried about that.
Yeah.
And I voiced out like my concerns to like my parents and some of my friends. And my parents were like, oh, you know, you should go try and take like a pre-marriage course. So at first I was a bit like, like we're not going to get married anytime soon, you know, because we were still like just dating at the time, boyfriend and girlfriend, not engaged or anything. But actually I did the course, and they kind of teach you about you know, how to communicate better or how to, you know, split chores properly, you know, like different familial backgrounds coming together, you know, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, and I thought like, actually that was like quite sound advice.
Because I think a lot of these things you don't really consider when you go into a relationship. You're just like, oh, this person's a nice person, we get along well, we like the same foods, that kind of thing. You don't really think like, oh, how does his love language affect, you know, how he does things, blah, blah, blah. So I see on your Instagram stories you cook quite a lot. So I guess that's your half of the duties.
Actually, he cooks also.
Oh,
so,
okay.
we both like kind of, whoever's like more tired in the day, like we'll like try and figure that out, or else we'll just not cook, we'll like order in. Yeah, so I think it's, like I said, it's all about communication, right? Like who is more tired. So usually he's the one, because he works at a bank, so he's quite busy at work, and I have a remote job. Aside from like singing and content creation and all that, so my schedule is a lot more flexible. So I tend to be the one that, you know, does most of the stuff, but I really don't mind because, you know, he can earn the money.
He can bring home the bacon.
Exactly.
And you cook the bacon.
Exactly. I mean, I also earn some money, but but obviously, like, it's a different, you know, thing, and our jobs are very, very different also by nature. So, you know, I appreciate what he does, and he appreciates what I do.
But I think that's really something to consider when you're moving in with someone. Not just, you know, a boyfriend or what. Even if you're having like a new housemate or what, or roommate. You know, you need to consider all these things like who does what, blah, blah, blah.
There's bound to be friction with anyone like that you
Any
live
two
with.
people.
Exactly. So I think, you know, we sat down and we were like, okay, who cares about what more? You know? So for me, like, I really care about, like, everything has a home. So, like, if you use something, you gotta put it back. I think, like, I really sat down and, like, wrote down.
Wow, so they're like house rules.
Not really lah, not really house rules, but things that we are each more particular about. Like, I'm sure you have things like that also, right? Like, things that you really care about in the house.
I know Elvin does help you here and there.
Yeah, so when he stays over with me over the weekends, he will help me out with like house chores. So I'm really appreciative of that. But day to day, it's just me.
It's you at home.
Yeah, so sometimes it's quite tiring because if I work the whole day and I feel like when I reach home, I just don't want to do like any of these house chores.
But they're still waiting for you. Like
They are.
laundry's waiting. It's something we were just talking about, you know, like laundry, you have to plan the timing like, around it. That
And then compared to her, I don't really cook. Like even though I've been staying alone for like almost 2 years in this place, I think I can count with my fingers how many times I have cooked. And I only cook like very simple things like spaghetti and those kind, like requires as little washing as possible. Yeah. And for him, he also doesn't like to cook, so we always like buy takeaway.
Just ordering in.
Yeah.
So I think that's a thing I've heard from my other friends who are staying with their partners as well. They say like, you know, when it's just one person or two person eating lunch, dinner, it's very hard to buy, you know, like a whole chicken or like
And
a whole...
for me, it doesn't justify the amount of effort and time to make a meal just for myself.
It's true.
But people do say that you need to take care of your body.
But I totally understand. Like sometimes when I'm home, then I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna prepare a meal.
Just
then
anything.
it takes like an hour to cook the entire thing.
And you finish the meal in like 10 minutes.
In like 5-10 minutes. Like, oh, okay, I guess
And then
now
you
it's
need
cleaning
washing.
up. So speaking of that, are there like things that people don't really consider about? Because I guess when people think of like having their own space, it's always like through rose-colored, rose-tinted glasses. You're like, oh, so nice to have my own space. I can like, you know, take my own long showers, blah, blah, blah. But what are the not so great things that you've discovered about, you know, moving out?
I think mainly is house chores for me. And another thing, I'm terrified of like insects. So I have this thing, I never ever open my window.
Oh my god, really?
Never,
It's
never,
always
ever.
air conditioned.
So like you don't ventilate your house?
I feel like I always attract all these insects. So I'm
She attracts the insects.
yeah.
Like,
The only time I open the window, there's
Something
weird
flies
ass
in.
bug comes into
She's
my
too
house.
sweet already, all the
so-
bees and all that.
But then because I have 2 cats, so I was sharing with her.
Yeah.
So my 2 cats, they are quite good at killing them. So they have like managed to kill 2 cockroaches for me. Luckily, they didn't bring it to me. They just left it in the
a
living
present
room.
for their mom.
Yeah.
No, but you have to tell us what state it was left in.
It was like flat, like a
Like
piece of
completely
paper.
flattened.
They hit it
They
so
just
hard.
hit it.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I know it's like when I sweep it out, it
These
was
are
like
like
in
some-
like a paper.
Violent.
Yeah.
And they look so innocent and cute. That's the
Yeah.
It's
But
okay, you have like
I'm
automatic.
thankful for them.
Yes, they're helping you keep your house.
I'm supposed to protect them, but
They
they are
protect you.
protecting me. Yeah.
So what about you? Are you like insect or like lizards? Well, I'm very scared.
Okay, I hate lizards.
Yeah.
Oh my god, same.
They kind
I
of like
really-
they have that googly eyes.
Yeah, and the tails can drop off. Like,
No.
like
And
what
they move
animal-
really fast.
Yeah.
I think when I was young, like a lizard dropped on my head before.
Dude,
So,
yeah, same. So
like,
like when I was like
trauma.
in primary
Are
school or
they cold?
something, I like opened my packet of bread and a lizard like dropped on my hand, and I burst into tears. And from then onwards, I've been like
I
super
did
scared.
use a vacuum to like vacuum dust.
Oh
it was a
my
baby
God.
lizard.
Like
Yeah,
an alive one?
yes. I didn't know how to manage it, so after I vacuum it and
You
I
just
put it
left
back,
it there for dead.
but it disappeared.
Oh my gosh, that means it crawled
Maybe
out.
it
Yeah, I
escaped
think so. It
lah.
just like
I
ran
mean, because
away.
it's a small one, right?
Yeah,
So
it was a
maybe
small
can.
one.
Oh my god.
So is your fiance in charge of the creepy crawlies?
Actually,
Or
actually, I'm really lucky because we don't have that many. But there was a lizard, and then I was just like, ah! And then he just like caught it for me. So
done.
yeah, for me, I'm scared of lizards. He is a little afraid of cockroaches.
Okay, so you guys take turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I guess because we have like one of those rubbish like chutes in our house.
Okay.
You
Oh
know.
yes, so they do crawl up.
And so like will take Bygone to spray like the corners.
Oh,
So
like
it's like a
regularly?
monthly thing, yeah,
Oh,
that we
wow.
do. So
Okay.
like yeah, like what you
Just
said.
prevention.
Yeah. So like these things you don't really think about, right? Like okay, you gotta like spray the whatever, or like you gotta clean the windows every month. And because we have like these Venetian blinds and like dust accumulates
Settles,
really fast
yeah.
on them. So we'll like clean them like every one
Layer
or 2
by
months.
layer.
And you gotta wash the curtains and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's a whole thing. Yeah.
yeah, and it's difficult and it's very tedious also. So I think people don't really think about that.
To be fair, living with my parents, I've really taken a lot of things for granted. Breakfast magically appears in the morning.
Laundry.
Clean laundry appears, and like
Whenever you can't find something,
yeah, mom, where do you put my pair of jeans or something? It's just like, it's there now. Okay, I'll go for it. Yeah. So I mean, these are really things I've taken for granted, as well as having my parents to accompany me or like talk to. Like if I come home from work, I'm tired, or like I had a bad day, I want to like just vent to someone.
I miss home cooked food.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I come home, I don't even have the mood to eat, and I wish like there was someone to
Like hot
prepare food for me. Yeah, I think that I miss that a lot.
So sometimes you like call your mom, like, Mommy,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
you
I'm
prepare?
coming home.
Can you prepare this special
Yeah.
dish?
Yes.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, I think for me as well, because we like visit parents like alternate weekends. So every time we go back, I think our parents' love language is food. So,
I think it's a very Asian
yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
So especially his mom, because his mom is Taiwanese and she's like an amazing cook. Like she'll make like 卤肉饭, or like she'll make like 猪脚醋, which I love.
That sounds
like,
so homely.
yeah. So she will actually text me. She'll be like, because she's a Chinese medicine doctor.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah. So she'll text me like, oh, do you have your period next week? And if I do, she'll
will
make me like
specially-
补汤
Wow.
for me.
So sweet.
That's
Yeah.
so nice.
So like I really, really appreciate that also.
Yeah.
And she'll like pack food for us to bring home.
to freeze
So-
in your freezers
Yeah,
and all
so like
that.
in case we are like tired or what, then we can like take it out and like, microwave it, and then we can have less of a chore like
Yeah.
cooking in general.
I mean, like the saying goes, you never really stop being their babies.
Yeah.
Even after moving out,
Yeah.
they're still preparing food for you and trying to do whatever they can to make life comfortable for you as
Yeah.
well.
Exactly.
That's so sweet. But let's go back to the topic of home ownership. How long did it take for you to find this place of the condo that you're staying at now?
I think I mentioned that we were looking for houses
for a while.
a year and a half.
Yeah.
And also I guess like our income level also changed through the years.
Yes, that's true.
So like what we could not afford before, we could afford now. So I think it's just like trying to, you know, see what fits into your lifestyle.
Your budget.
Yeah, and your budget. Like as, you know, time goes by, I feel like that's quite important also.
Yeah.
And like, especially when it comes to housing, because like there's such a wide variety of housing options in Singapore, right?
Yes.
And like, you know, there's various like waiting times, various like, you know,
Do you
budget.
consider renting before this, or it was like never an option for you?
I think I did mention to my parents that like, oh, maybe like in passing, because I think I had a few friends who were renting, and then I just like brought it up in conversation with them, and they just immediately were like, no. They were like, 那个是丢钱.
Yeah, wasting money.
Yeah, so they were like, oh, that's like really like a money waster. I'd rather
very
you
true,
like
I
own
guess.
a house. So I think that was my mom's like point of view also from like
I think
coming.
it's her real estate background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess she was not supportive of me renting, but she was supportive of me buying. So
Okay.
yeah.
Because I think for me, I'm definitely leaning more towards renting for my first place with my boyfriend, because it's just so much money upfront, you know? Like I cannot imagine like, you know, clearing out my entire savings to own a house. Then I'll be worried.
But at the same time, when you rent, you are paying for someone's house.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I think it's more of buying time, you know, buying time to save up more.
But you need to break the cycle eventually.
Exactly, yeah. So I mean, there's always these two at odds.
Yeah.
You know? Do I want to splurge?
But if like if you have a partner to share the cost of renting, then I think it's viable.
Slightly more, But the whole thing about renting, I guess, for me is it will never truly feel like my own house.
It's true.
Because I won't be able to like fully renovate it, build in fixtures that I really want to. And I mean, I'm a Pinterest girl. I have so many like home goals.
Boards already.
Yeah, so I have like home goals, like oh, I would love like this fully tiled bathroom, which I'm sure costs a bomb. That kind of thing. Yeah, but you know, when you're renting, you have limitations.
So for me, I just only bought like furnitures that I need.
So yours are like standalone pieces, and the decor is like things that you can.
I try
easily
not to
take down.
change anything too much.
Yeah, and I think also the question is like, where does your furniture go if you're like changing furniture constantly, right?
Like there's a couple of times which I sell and then I bought something else, so I can switch in a way. But I think after that, if I do own a house, then I will just try to sell it off or give away.
That's true. Yeah.
Carousel's your best friend.
Or Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I never knew that until like I had to get
It's
rid
a
of some
surprisingly
stuff.
not bad place.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like in the expats
Yeah.
of Singapore group. So because they always move in and out,
Yes.
so they always have pretty nice furniture for sale.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not bad. But I currently have nowhere to put it, so it's just for me to look at. Yeah. I think for you, have you considered continuing renting this place, or?
Actually, I'm like stuck in between. I think I will continue to rent, like maybe for the next 1 to 2 years. Yeah, while I save enough money to actually buy my own place.
And I mean, I've been to your house. It's a pretty cozy space.
Decent
It's
for,
sort of
like, one
just
person.
nice for you, one person. But if you know, if your boyfriend and you intend to stay together next time, it might get a little bit squeezy.
Squeezy means
Yeah.
I need to get rid more things.
Get rid of your cats. No lah.
And now that I have 2 cats, I'm
Yeah.
responsible for it.
You're a
I
mom.
don't think I can just rent any place that
Don't allow pets.
Don't
Oh,
allow
that's
pets.
true.
Yeah,
That's a
that's true.
consideration.
It's
it
quite
is.
tricky.
And to be honest, I don't think a lot of places allow pets.
It's hard to find. I think.
So I hope like I can extend my stay at the current
Yeah.
place until I get a permanent house.
That's
Because moving is actually such a pain in the ass.
And I have to move everything by myself. It was so tiring.
You did it yourself?
Yeah,
You didn't
I
get...
did. Okay, my friends did help me to sheave.
Okay.
But like packing,
Yeah, okay,
everything, I
packing
had to
is
do
a
everything.
pain.
And I was
Such a nightmare.
sneezing constantly for like almost 2 weeks.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was very tiring.
Yeah, in fact, like I didn't really, when I moved into my house, it was such a struggle because I didn't hire any moving
So
like,
you
trucks
also
or
did it
anything.
yourself?
I mean, because we were both like in separate houses and then we were slowly bringing, so every time we would travel there, it was
bring
like
a
kind of
little
like,
box
yeah, bring a
in.
little box, bring a little
Okay.
box.
Oh, okay, a little by little.
Yeah, so it wasn't like 100% move in.
Yeah.
In fact, we were living without furniture for 2.5 months, like in our house.
How do you live without furniture?
We had
Just
need a bed.
literally
Just need a
just a
bed.
mattress on the floor because even the storage bed frame took like 2 or 3 months to come.
That's the same for me. I was sleeping on the mattress on the floor.
On the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had nothing like in the house.
It
And we
was
were just like kind
bare.
of bringing like all the small things here and there, like whatever you would need to, I guess, sleep overnight.
So your move in took about 2 to 3 months?
I guess. I mean, we technically already like kind of living there. So once you like live there,
You
you
just
know,
need the necessities.
Yeah,
Like a
plus-
frying pan.
exactly.
But as I was moving from one place to another, like rented place, so I had to get rid of my things to the
Yeah.
new
To
place
clear off your
at the
hard.
same time.
Yeah.
Because
You
you
gotta
didn't have
keep
another
that.
like storage area.
Correct.
Dang, that's something to consider as well. Yeah, because I guess when we think about this, we only think about nice things like, oh, I can furnish it nicely, I can do this. But, you know, there's so many hidden costs, Wi-Fi, like electricity bills, all these small things, they really add up as well.
Yeah, and actually reno is really expensive now also.
Do you want to share how much yours?
I personally didn't really have to do much.
You're a lucky
I was
gal.
super lucky because the previous owners of the house actually spent like 100 plus K doing up the house. And then it was like, they lived in there for only a really short time and then they sold the house.
Nice.
I
So
was
it's
really
still
lucky.
pretty newish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but my
Well
mom,
maintained.
my mom's actually renovating like our other house right now, and it's so much money. And because she's doing it by herself with a contractor, I have to run there to help her sometimes also, and I can see how much work it is.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so much work. You gotta go to like tile shops, gotta go to like all these like random like industrial areas to like look at sliding doors and all that stuff. And you would think like it's actually very easy, but it's really not.
I
And
think
it's so
when you have
expensive.
more decisions, it's harder and harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need to find like good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, I always wonder how like my friends who are like doing their wedding and home reno at the same time. It's
Yes.
wild because like every single weekend they're just like looking at furniture, looking at this, looking at that, and like
Yeah.
money is just flying
Like you
out.
think that it's fun to look at all this.
I mean, now that I have no sticks, it's fun. I'm like, ooh, nice tiles. Ooh,
Yeah.
nice table.
It's true.
But you see the price difference and
Not
you're
so
like,
nice.
Yeah, so I had to install a sliding door for the toilet in my house. That was the only thing I installed in my house. And that already cost me like 2-ish K. Just for like a sliding
Okay, for
door.
a sliding door.
Yeah, I mean, the sliding door is like, you know, ripped glass and it's like pretty and
24
stuff.
K gold plated handle.
That one not 2K, maybe 20K.
Yeah, but even that simple like sliding door already cost that much. So
Yeah.
my mom was like, "Oh, you're so lucky. You don't have to do renovation." And actually, I'm quite glad I didn't like buy a house that's
That
unfurnished.
was a really fixer upper.
Yeah,
that kind.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
I feel like in our 20s, it's really time for us to hustle and work and really build up capital so we can, do anything that we want, like
Yeah.
in like our later years.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine like spending all that money and time into a house where I'm not even sure I will live like
Forever.
day
Yeah,
and
forever.
Yeah, if it's
night.
your forever home. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's another thing. Like, sometimes you see like these not so well done houses, but the price tag is lower versus these like well done places
So you
with
need to
furniture in.
calculate.
Yeah.
You need to
so
calculate.
pros and cons, I guess.
Like for me, when I was looking for a studio, I wanted like half furnished or like just came with white goods.
Yeah.
So I can at least inject some of my own
Personality.
taste to it. Yeah, so I did spend on like furniture like sofa, bed frame, this kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it does cost a little bit, and I was paying all by myself.
Yeah, because I mean, especially if you're going to stay there for a few years, it's not a
Oh,
short
but my
period of time.
lease is 2 years,
Yeah.
so I thought like I should at least make it comfortable for myself.
Exactly.
Of course.
2 years is not a short time. And if
But
you're,
it's ending soon.
oh, it's true.
Yeah, it's so fast.
Time really flies. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only like half a year left, right? Yeah. But I think some of the very important things, like you need like a good mattress, good bed frame. Hello, when you're getting old, right? Every terrible bed I sleep on, right? Then my back like,
Yeah.
Help.
yeah.
You
so
know, we went to
investment
8 mattress
pieces.
stores
Wow.
before we decided.
I didn't even know there are like that many.
Yeah, we went to like IMM, to like the outlet,
Oh,
you know, the
the-
outlet
yes.
malls, and then we went to like the Tampines like industrial area because there's another like mattress store.
So have you learned a lot about like mattresses?
I am like so good at like all
We
these
can do a whole
things.
episode like Charlene Sue and her mattresses.
Yeah, and I went to like troll Taobao, everything. Like most of my furniture is from Taobao. Or like if I can help it, like I will, you know, look at like factories even.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Anything to lower the
To
cost.
save on like that markup.
Yeah, and also I guess like what you said, mattresses, right, is so important. And we were considering buying like one that cost like $4,000 or $5,000, and then we saw that there was a good mid-range one, so we
Okay.
settled on one that was like two-ish K.
Yeah. I mean, that's expensive, but in the long run,
But I think a
Yeah.
good mattress is that you can bring it to your next house.
it's
also.
an
Exactly.
investment piece.
Yeah.
It's not something people normally
And you
think.
need good rest to earn more money.
Exactly. Oh,
Totally
yes,
right.
it's
Yeah.
the circle of life.
Yeah.
The mattress is the core of it.
Yeah, like it's so important actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I
it's crazy.
think we've learned a lot from this short chat. But what is, what is one piece of advice you can give to young people who are looking to move out or house hunting?
Can I go first?
I think if you have the capacity, like the financial means, do try it. Or like you can, if you have a partner as well, for me, I would think that you guys should stay together to learn about each other
other,
yeah.
habits and like how you can take care of a house together. So, yeah.
I think you also did say maybe you can try moving in with friends, like
Yeah, but
sharing
maybe
a
like
space.
the friendship might not work
That's
out.
true too. Yeah,
It's
that's
true.
that's
You
another
never
thing
know, but
you
I
have
think
to
if you do have a really good friend and you want to do it, you can.
and you guys are definitely like on the same page on
Yeah.
a lot of things.
I think
yeah.
it's quite fun. Like for me, I didn't get to like study overseas.
Yeah.
So I didn't have this experience
Yeah,
of
yeah,
staying
yeah.
with friends
Same,
and things
same.
like that alone. So, I mean, like you still can do it in Singapore. Yeah.
But ultimately, you would still recommend doing it. I think for the peace of mind and for learning independence as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I grew a lot
yeah.
from this.
I mean,
4
I've
years.
seen you in the past few years. I think you
Yes.
have. You've learned how to sort of like
Take care of
appreciate your
myself.
own alone
Yeah.
time as well. Because I think, especially when we're younger, we're very used to just always being so
At the-
social.
Yeah, at the start I felt a bit lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you
I
sometimes
mean,
don't even want to go out and meet
sometimes
me.
still feels lonely, but I think it's like more manageable now.
What about you? Any words of advice for young house hunters?
I think really know what your priorities are and do like really good cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
I think that's really, I sound so like old right now, cost benefit analysis.
I'm not even sure how to explain that.
But I think that's like super important, like
Yeah.
knowing like your financial like means.
Yes.
And like trying to figure out, okay, like what can I put aside every month for? And is it like, is that amount of money really worth my peace of mind? Or is that amount of money, worth my mental health? Because I know for a lot of friends it is. Especially if you do content creation, you need your own space to
Yeah.
really like
I don't
flourish.
think so because I feel like when I have a better mental state of mind, I tend to get things done better
Definitely.
and achieve what I
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think in your case, if you're constantly fighting with your parents, that's gonna be something that's weighing on your mind a lot, and it's gonna be frustrating in the long run, lah.
Yeah, and don't take this decision like lightly also.
for
Yeah,
sure,
like
for
really
sure.
consider all the options that you have, and then really like think about what your priorities are.
And I guess also just keep looking. Like there's nothing stopping you from
Exactly.
visiting new spaces. Because I actually have a friend, like after moving in, then she discovered that there's an area of the house that doesn't get sunlight. Like it's like just her plants all keep dying. So she's like, oh, I wish I had seen it at different times of the day, that kind of thing. Yeah.
But actually, for me, I will always use the compass. So like advice is like look for north or south facing.
Yes.
So there's no direct sunlight.
This is the first time I've heard
Really?
this. Yeah.
Like if you get a west facing, it's really hot in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I do like light coming into my house, but it's
not
really
hot. Yeah.
So north or south facing.
Okay, I'm gonna go home and like there's this-
Point to your windows.
point out my windows.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of like these things you need to consider when you actually get a house, like the direction, like okay, where is your house in like relation to things around it?
Where's the nearest
So-
bus stop?
Exactly.
Where's the nearest
Yeah.
7-Eleven?
Like
or
when
something?
people book BTOs, sometimes they don't consider that there's like a playground right underneath their window.
Gonna be
or-
screaming
noisy.
Yeah,
screaming
or there's like a
kids.
walkway at the side and people can look into your house, for example. So there's like a lot of these considerations, and also view the house like at different times of the day. Because I had a friend who went to buy a 5-room in a mature estate, and she only visited like in the daytime. But then she realized like when she bought the house, she didn't go at night, but her neighbors are mahjong loving. Yeah, and they leave the door open, and there's like a ton of people. It's like a mahjong den.
It's a party.
almost. Yeah, and she has to like deal with that noise because
And that's
she
something
didn't go
she
at
never
night.
knew until
Yeah.
moving in, and that's a bit too late, I guess.
Yeah. And the owners would never tell you all
Of course,
this.
of
They would never
course, they're
tell
like
you.
happy to like, okay, bye bye, you can have your new house.
Yeah. And for resale, check every fixture. I think that's super important.
Okay.
Because my mom's friend actually bought a house and it looked nice, so he thought he didn't have to redo like the kitchen. But actually, when he was like redoing everything else, they realized that there was a termite infestation like in the kitchen, but they weren't aware of it. So
I'm sure that
Yeah.
cost him a bomb too.
yeah, it's very, very expensive.
Because you need to really remove everything there.
Yes. Yeah. So like don't take these things lightly. Like be an auntie, be whatever you need to. Like
Yeah, be a
check
Karen
everything.
about it.
Yeah, be a Karen about it.
Like,
don't
knock,
even
knock,
be
knock.
ashamed. Yeah.
Yeah, dang. This is really good advice for me as well.
Yeah, girl.
And I think really good advice for all of you who are looking for a house or even considering moving out or just having your own space. So thank you so much, Charlene and Jasmine, and I hope I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.